A very good afternoon, everybody. I hope all of you have submitted your work after the lab session. Last time when I have seen, there were around 25 responses, but maybe 5, 7, 6 are absent. So around 27 of you might have submitted also. So in this workshop, which every year we conduct after the internal exam is completed, the students' answers, which are written in real time and in real situations. Many a times it happens that such experiments are done in a controlled group. So the students are told that your answers will be analyzed, evaluated. So they write in a different mind frame. But when you are in a natural, real time exam environment, at that time the students are under some kind of pressure of remembering several things, writing things, and in that case several subconscious errors happen, which is not possible in a controlled group. So if we do the similar activity on a regular basis, where we give you one answer to write and then we analyze, we do not get exactly this result, which we are planning to see, that when you write in the exam environment under that pressure of remembering several things and then writing in a given limited time, it has a different mind frame, a different kind of mental pressure, and so some unknown errors happen in that. So when we do error analysis of this in this workshop, we tend to see that how such unknown errors, subconscious errors keep on happening, and how we can be alert towards that also. And we do two things here in this workshop. One is human. So human teachers will also analyze your answer books, and they will also give feedback. This time we have also invited Dr. Vijay Mangukia from Godhra, Sri Govind Guru University. And he also will share his experience of being as a student, how the answers are prepared, and now working as a teacher also, what errors normally students make and how they can be overcome. And along with him, two visiting faculties here, Prakruti Madam and Megha Madam, also will share that what way they have analyzed your answer books. Dr. Vijay will not speak about how you have written the answers. He will speak in a different context, but Megha Madam and Prakruti Madam will speak about how you have written the answers and what errors you have actually made. The third part, the important part, is about AI, that how artificial intelligence is now helping us in doing the same error analysis. So for that, we had a morning session wherein the task was given. We divided ourselves into small groups of 5 to 6 students. Now we have, I think, 5 groups. 5 groups are there, and you all have worked in the group on a given task. So what task was given to you for lab activity? Just an overview, as we are doing this live streaming and recording. So we can just have a context clear in this particular recording also. So the groups were framed and they were given a particular task to work on. In the lab session, when in the morning we were working in what condition we have seen. These are a few photographs of those tasks. We verified whether you have given proper answers or not. So we have seen that the answer that you have written, that is given to AI, and you have not rectified the thing. So I hope when I came, I have seen the answer, the same you might have given to AI. You might not have changed the answer when you gave to AI. Then we do not get a proper result of what we are desiring to get also. So this in the morning we were doing in the lab session. We also told you to count the words, because we want to see both the things, quantity of the answer and quality of the answer. So most of the times students are worried that how long should we write for 10 marks, for 5 marks. Now we do not have 20 marks answers. In old annual systems, we used to have the answers of 20 marks, and then 18, 20 pages were written. Normally questions have not changed, but the length of the answer has changed now. Almost the same question remains there, which was for 20 marks. Now it is for 10 marks and 5 marks. So now you have to reduce the thing. So like when Dr. Vijay will be looking at the things, he also will be recalling his annual system days. And in the annual system days, there was only one exam at the end of the year. Now you have 4 exams. Then it was only 2 exams. And this time in the semester system, there is lots of other work also, which was not there in annual system also. So that was a different style of writing answers, and more lengthy answers were required. Now to the point answers are required, to the point. So in those systems, even if you write briefly about author, about the text, it was well and good because you had enough time to write. There were 20 marks for a particular answer, so there was enough scope to write the other thing. But now you have to be very precise to answer the given question and be to the point for 10 marks and 5 marks. So if you know your own handwriting, how many words do you write per line, per page, then you can understand. Because generally, if we instruct that you should write 4 to 5 pages, but 4 to 5 pages vary according to your handwriting. So many of you might be writing 4 to 5 pages, but still it is a shorter answer. Still it doesn't convey the thing. So we want you to understand your handwriting by counting the words, and then you have given the inputs also. We have calculated a formula by doing several review of several things in some universities, that what should be the ideal length of the answer, what is the connection between time, marks, and the words. These 3 variables are there. Based on that, we have done that, for which one video also is prepared, and we have asked you to watch it also. This is one tabular format that we have devised regarding these 3 variables about time, number of words, to quantify the given answer also. Based on this, we also we told you to have a prompt to understand in your own manner what way the number of words can be identified, or what should be the length for the answer. That also you can judge. So one prompt was given to you to work on that. According to this prompt and the table that we have prepared, we see that for 70 marks, we have 150 minutes now. When we prepared that video, it was 120 minutes. Now we have 150 minutes. So this all things keeps on changing. Now, many times we don't know what is the logic behind all this thing. What is the research behind that? But we are not able to find a good research. That why 100 marks of question paper should have 3 hours. Why 180 minutes for that? When you try to ask this question and try to review, you will again fumble that, well, there is no substantial amount of research. That how? Because it is tradition. So pehle se chali aati hai. It's a tradition, and so people keep on doing. So we keep that as a benchmark. Now, why it is that still remains to be explored, that why 180 minutes, 400 marks in descriptive answer analysis is an ideal time. That again, we don't know why it is the same time for mathematics, for literature, for chemistry, for everybody. It is again the same time. So how the education system in the past have come to this, we still are looking for that. But keeping that in the mind, we try to see 70 marks. Earlier it was 120 minutes, now it is 150 minutes. So these variables, we don't know how these things keep on changing. That also is quite arbitrary. These are several things which are very arbitrary in our education system, which requires some kind of thinking, that why and how we think of that. But we try to adjust with whatever time is given to us. We are trying to adjust with the given time. So you have to write 4 answers, long answers, that is for 10 marks. Earlier, these long answers were short notes. In the annual system, in the 20-mark system, this long answer was a short note. Now the short note is a long answer. So this is something that is changing there. 20 minutes each can be given. So we can have 80 minutes for that. 5 marks, 10 minutes is 40 minutes. MCQs you have for 10 marks, so we give 15 minutes for that. And you have 15 minutes to review your answer book. Last 15 minutes should be left so that you can review and edit the thing also. The same way, number of words and pages, how many? Then we can say that 10 marks you should write somewhere around 400 to 450 words. 4 to 5 pages with normal handwriting should be the ideal length. And for short notes, 200 to 225 words and 2 to 3 pages should be written as an answer also. Earlier in annual system, or when we had 20 marks system, we used to write around 12 to 13 pages, 12 to 13, 14 pages per answer. So we can say it is now 1/3. It has come down to almost 1/3, half to 1/3 in this writing system also. So this was the thing that we have discussed in the morning. We asked you to submit your work in this. So you have submitted in this Google form also. And you have prepared slides also on your work, which you are going to present to us also. When we look at this idea of human as well as AI synergy, the meeting between two things, human as well as AI, then we also keep in mind what is this pedagogical gap that we are trying to fill. What is that need of AI when humans are already working to do error analysis and other things are there. So we have seen that these three things, which is marked in red color fonts, are supported in this, in which number one is very important. The number one pedagogical gap that we see here is something very important, that is one-to-one tutoring that we get with AI. Now, this one-to-one tutoring was seen as a gap by Benjamin Bloom, Bloom's taxonomy that people use widely in education. He has identified this 2 sigma problem, and he also has seen that the best way to teach to get maximum result is one-to-one tutoring. One is this traditional lecture-based method. Then there is this mastery learning where you give some activities to the students to work. And then third is individual tutoring, mastery learning, that in a lesser time, maximum learning can happen in this particular thing. But as we know, it is impossible because we cannot have that many teachers. If there are even 30 students, we can't have 30 teachers, or we can't even have 10 teachers that can be done. So that is the gap. Now that gap is nearly impossible to fill in countries like India, where there is mass education. There is a mass education, and we want to improve the quality of everybody, and with limited teachers, with limited. So AI is now required here. It is helping us that all the students, if they are given some ideas, then they can, they will or not, that is a different thing, but they can. You can have a teacher in your pocket and you can ask teacher whatever you want, but you may think that it is better as a good friend and let me ask him as a friend rather than as a teacher, and let me do gossip with AI rather than learn from AI. But that is a choice that we make. That is our choice. And then we can't learn also. And then our outcome may not be up to the mark also. But there are possibilities. This is giving us a possibility that now the gap that was seen by Benjamin Bloom as one-to-one tutoring is possible. Students should be given ideas to use AI, that how they can, that is what teachers can do. But teachers cannot force, as we give a metaphor that you can take a horse to a pond. You can't make horse drink a water. Even if you will hold up the mouth and put it in the water, the horse will still not drink the water. You can't do that. Now that is where this all thing comes. So if we say that, well, we do this experiment and everybody's writing is good, but no, everybody's writing is not good yet. It will be good only if you will work on it. With this idea, if you will work, then only it will be good. It will not be automatic that if I do one workshop or one experiment, then the things will start improving. That is not going to happen. But this is the pedagogical gap which can be answered through this also. These are some of the examples of the previous years when we did this experiment and how students presented the things. Today also we will see that what result we are getting of this and learning outcome that we all can get also. For this, we prepared prompts, that what way the prompt should be given by the students so that they can work on this. So a proper direction is given to everybody. And that is something very important part of using AI, that teachers should think of better prompts, more precise prompts, exactly what is desired as an outcome. These prompts are to be prepared by teachers. Teachers' role in this new era is changing to become a prompt engineer. So earlier we worked with CEFR guidelines. Now this time we have given you this BAWE, British Academic Written English Corpus. And because it is a very well-known data set available online, so we don't have to give further thing, but AI can work on that and give you the desired result. Otherwise, we have to give lots of detailing like the one we have prepared for our university. The another rubric that we have prepared for our university, for that we have given lots of detailing. But here, detailing is not required because the data sets are available also. So we make an analysis request for this with focus area, evaluate structure, organization, academic tone and style, argumentation and critical analysis, and all these things we want to be analyzed into the answer that I have written in a real time situation, real exam situation. I have written one answer and that I want to be analyzed in a particular manner. Along with this, we have given our own rubric which we have prepared. And over the years, while looking at your answer papers, we have come to know that there are three important areas which needs to be corrected to improve the quality of answers. First is correctness of English language. There are lots of un-English expressions that keep on coming. Punctuation marks are missing. The spellings, simple spellings are also not written properly. Grammatical disconnect is seen in the sentence structure. So assertive sentence, simple sentence should have one verb and it should have that completeness that the sentence is completed. But many sentences remain like a stream of consciousness. There is a flow that goes on, and there is no completeness, like an absurd theater. Many answers are written. So how that can be done, how one can work on that, 4 points are given for this. Then content of the answer, that what way we expect that what is the a good answer, how it can be considered as a better answer. Wherein we ask that quotations from original text or critics, if you add, it will become the high quality answer. If you are adding quotations from a text, original text, and supported by some critical observations also. And then organization. Writing an answer is an art, and how well you organize your answer, because you are answering a question, which again is forgotten by many students, and they just see that this question is from this text and they start writing about the text, not about the answer. So that is the part of organization of answer. So these three parameters we have devised here to see that on this ground also how AI is helping us to analyze our answers. So these are our prompts. Now we can say that it's a very lengthy, detailed prompts which are prepared that can help us to analyze our things in a better manner also. So on this ground, you all have might have prepared the things. Your answer also might be written by AI. AI is not only suggesting, like teachers will suggest you. Teachers are preachers. So we preach, but we don't practice. If you tell that write my answer in this manner, it is not possible for us. For every one of you, your answer, if you tell that now write the way you are suggesting us that it should be like this, it is not possible, because even one answer we write for 30 students, it will take lots of time, and that much of time we are not able to give for this. It is not like mathematics that you prepare one answer and one answer is correct for everybody. In literature, there is no one right answer. That is a big problem. If there is only one right answer like MCQ, then there is no problem. Then you can do that. But in literature, all answers are correct answers. All answers are correct answers. In that way, if you say that write my answer in this manner, it means you have to write 30 answers in that particular style, which is beyond human capacity, but it is very simple for AI capacities. AI can do that without wasting any time. That is how AI has several interesting capacities which humans can never reach to. And this is one example we see here, that this human teacher cannot do. We can preach, we can practice that, but AI can do both. It can preach also, it can practice also, provided we give a proper direction to AI to work on this. So based on this, you all have submitted your work, And now, first we will invite Dr. Vijay here to share the things. And then we will ask madams to share, and then the group of students will come and they will share. Yes. So, Dr. Vijay, you can now have your time. Yes. Yeah.
Good afternoon to all of you. Respected senior professor and head Dr. Dilip sir, two visiting faculty members, and dear students. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Dilip sir for giving me an opportunity to share my experience of assessing answer books of PG students. I have been assessing answer books of PG students of different three universities almost for 14 years. And in this particular session, directly I will start discussing my observation that I have come to know. Even recently, I had an experience, a very good experience of assessing answer books of semester 4 students. Few things also I shared with sir that you need to work on, means students need to work on. And in this respect, I have been called here to share my experience of assessing the answer books. Few things I have come to know. I have prepared only two slides, and the two slides, one is uh, titled as do's and another one is don'ts. I think my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible. Yeah.
Yeah, fine. So, what things you need to overcome, you need to stop doing, and what we as examiners are expecting from you. It happens that entire semester's learning is going to be reflected in answer books, and we expect that quality content to be omitted by you in answers in the question paper. But sometimes students prove themselves to be Hamlet like figure. Much is expected, but little is achieved. And sometimes also they prove themselves to be Dr. Posters, that they know many things, but they do not utilize their learning in the right way. So they do not write the answers in the proper method. A few things before I start sharing my points in do's category. I would like to tell you one thing, that if we had annual system, as sir was pointing out, and we had almost full 3 hours of time for writing 5 long answers. So we could allot 35 minutes to 45 minutes per question, right? But even I remember that we were not that much haphazard or vague in writing the content in answer in any question. Even though we had sufficient time, but we didn't write the unnecessary, unexpected things and creating our answer to be a kind of a chaos, a kind of a, we can say, collage, right? uh, you might also be knowing well that you are given only 2.5 hours of time. You are supposed to attempt all 5 questions. Amongst 5 questions, you are having 4 long questions, 4 short notes, and 1 question of MCQs containing 10 MCQ questions. So you have very limited time. But then even I have seen students doing blunder only. Perhaps don't get hurt if I use some strict remarks or strict words, but a blunder, or we can say certain unexpected things that they do, that they merely start writing answers with key facts. Spark notes, no doubt, is very useful for getting a very general and brief and introductory information of so and so text and so author. But it doesn't mean that it is to be omitted, that it is to be written in our exam answers. All right. So these things, at PG level, something mature content, quality content is expected, and that is what is missing, I think. As almost around 180 answer books, but only I can say that 5 6 were the answer books in which I got the answer up to my expectation. Or we can say I really felt too much amazed to see the content delivered by a so and so student in answer books. So certain things in do's and don'ts in my discussion, you will come to know what examiner is expecting from you, and what things you need to incorporate and what things you need to omit. So in do section, what things are expected from you. So first of all, remember one thing: focus on what is asked rather than what you have read or remembered. Yeah, you would have read clip notes, shamuk notes, grade saver notes, spark notes. You would have referred other internet sources, because I hardly could see students writing quotations from critics or historians histories. All right. I remember I used to get the books issued from central library, from department library, used to read S.D. Ward, Harold Bloom, David Deitch's, even histories like histories written by Compton Rickett, Edward Albert, even Lewis Kazamian. I can give you names. I have not listed here even on slides, but I can give you names that those were the resources which we referred, we read, and used them in our answers. That reading was directly reflected in answers. All right. Students, you will have to remember one thing, that what is asked is more important. Always remember, I would like to give you one hint, that questions by any paper setter, a paper setter, even if he is from Oxford or Cambridge University, any paper setter will ask questions from literary text from only three perspectives. Right right as I told you, even if a paper setter is from a foreign university, he has only three dimensions to ask the questions from. Uh, One, he will ask questions from characters perspective. Another, he will ask questions from thematic perspectives. And third will be from the perspectives of narrative technique, narrative structure. Right? Yeah, simply, directly, straightforward questions will not be asked, because you are not no more UG students where you are asked questions like write a detailed note on the protagonist of the novel Jen Eyre, write a detailed note on the plot of the novel or plot of the drama, write a detailed note on or elaborate in detail the thematic concerns raised by so and so novelist in so and so work. Right? These kinds of direct, straightforward questions will not be asked. Question will be asked in a very tricky way. But again, if you dig deeper into that particular question, you will come to know that he or she may ask you a question from this perspective. If you closely read the question, then you may think that this question is from thematical perspective, this question is from characters perspective, or it is asked from the perspective of narrative technique, narrative structure, design. Right? Fine. So you will have to first this post-mortem the question, you will have to first know what is asked, and then start writing what is asked rather than what you have remembered, what you have read. Right? See, ultimately you are supposed to write answer from your reading only. Doesn't mean that you have to keep it separate, but you will have to modify your answer according to the nature of question. Right? So you will have to identify, you will have to closely comprehend the question, that what is asked. Another point, if absolutely it is not required, then don't prepare a list of bulleted points. Because I highly favor, I personally see, it's my belief, it may be my personal belief, that I mostly favor answers which are written in narrative form, in essay form. Right? Where even there is no title of introduction, there is no title of even conclusion. Right? Because first paragraph will itself become introductory paragraph, where you are introducing so and so thematic concern if it is asked, so and so character if it is asked, or something like technique. Right? So first paragraph will itself become the introduction. So do not need to just define it that, see, this is my introduction. Do not need to define it that, see, this is first thematic concern, second thematic concern, third, right? I have seen a very, a very, we can say, very poor answers in which they have written about the text, about the author, about the plot of the novel, about thematic concerns, and then the answer is over. What is asked still, it is still left undone or untouched. They do not simply focus on what is asked. They just fill 4 or 5 pages writing these many things, giving titles. So do not give titles of each of the paragraph that, see, this is all about this. Examiner will have to read, and he will try to understand that what is written, what the paragraph is talking about. Simply, you can highlight. You can highlight a word, you can highlight a phrase, even a clause or entire sentence you can highlight, and through that you can convey your message that this paragraph is all about this particular aspect. So if it is not required, then simply write long answer in essay form or in narrative form. And one of the most important aspect, even sir also referred to it while talking about rubrics, that if you want to make your answer qualitative, then please write as many quotations taken from original text and critics or histories as you can. I remember, perhaps I'm not wrong, I'm not exaggerating my memory, but I remember exactly in part 1 and 2, in both the years, I calculated I had memorized more than 400 quotations in both the years. 400 quotations. In the Wasteland, I had remembered 70 lines from different 5 sections. And not only remembered, not only memorized them, but also understood them and comprehended those lines, and also had written down whatever was required in my answers. You, if you really want to make your answer very qualitative, then quotations are badly needed, because you will be able to differentiate yourself from the average students only through your quality content, and quality content can be produced only through writing quotations. Quotations are really needed. I would like to show some of the model answers that I prepared. Even I must tell you that I had prepared my handwritten answers, reading some reference books, original texts. Almost, I remember I also shared this with sir that I had prepared answers, different answers, 3 to 4 answers of each text, almost answers of 28 textbooks in both the years. And those handwritten notes I have still preserved. It is there in my office, lying in cupboard, safely preserved. And also I'm using some of the answers, handwritten answers I prepared in my classroom, because there are textbooks which I studied during my PG studies there are also there as a part of syllabi in my department here. So I'm using those answers. I have not even converted those handwritten notes into typing form, because that will give a kind of a flair. See, this can be the answer. This can be, if this is question, this is such this kind of question, then this kind of answer can be written. Some smartness I had used. I will also teach you lessons of smartness, that how to prepare, how to amalgamate quality content, even in covering 2 3 aspects of a text, so that you will have one answer to prepare. It can be used, and the content can be used in different 1 or 2 questions. If it is asked from thematic perspectives, then the content has to be modified in that way. If the question is asked from characters perspective, fine, the content has to be modified in that particular way. But yeah, each answer I prepared, you will find more than 6 7 quotations, not only taken from original text, but also from renowned critics and historians, so that you can enhance the quality. Papers, examiner is assessing papers, he has bunch of more than 100 answer books, right? And if a very good quality paper is coming to him to assess, right, and if the answers are with full of quotations, definitely he will feel himself he will be pleased to see He will completely feel so much amazed to give marks, because his temperament will completely changed once he sees the answer with quotations. Yeah, there are also some conditions of writing quotations. I will definitely discuss that particular part when I will discuss my answers, my model answers I prepared, right? Going further, manage your time. Yeah, I think time management aspect, sir has already discussed with you. I perhaps will not take much time in discussing that particular part, but again, I have seen, my observation is telling me, or is instigating me to tell you that if I have seen answer books where first two questions are written in a good quantity, in a a sufficient quantity, sorry, sufficient content is delivered, and in rest of the questions, for example question 3 and 4, again you are minimizing it. So it means that you have not managed your time. It shows that you have not managed time. In first two questions, 5 6 pages you have filled, and in the last two questions only 2 pages. So again, it is not justifiable one, right? So manage your time, give equal justice to all the questions. One another aspect I have noticed there in your university, that there is one chronology, that question 1A, that is compulsory, and then question B or B, that is short note. You are given two options. One of the two is to be written by you, right? So question 1 and question 1A, question 1B, right? So chronology in that sense, it doesn't mean that right from the first question only, you need to it I'm not telling you that you need to start writing right from the first question. That first question should be attempted by you first, second, and third. That chronology I'm not talking of. I'm talking of chronology, that question 1A, if you have written, then directly start writing question B after that. If you have written, for example, first, if you have attempted fourth question first, that question 4A, then it must be followed by question 4B. I have seen answer books where they simply write question A first and then question B, and then question 1B will come, and then after once again question 3A 3B, and then afterwards question 2B will be there. So in a very haphazard, in a very chaotic manner you will find. So what happens, that it will arouse irritation in the heart, in the mind of examiner, and the irritation of examiner is very dangerous. It is directly reflected in the marks. So he has to find the answers, that where is question 1B, find 1A is he has assessed, then he has to find 1B, and that is there at the end, right? Question 2A he finds and he assesses, right? And then question B is not found and it is written at the end. So he has to also put the total of question A, 1A, and question 1B, and then he has to put it on the front page. So please don't irritate the examiner. Maintain the chronology. Another aspect, presentation and readability. You all know this, that good things are always liked by all, right? So even something which is written in a very well manner, which is readable, right? A legible writing, that is expected at PG level. Everybody is not expected to be the follower of Mahatma Gandhiji, and if you are, then you need to improve. You need to work hard in improving your handwriting. I remember that I had to work a lot in improving my handwriting, because I also was one of the followers of Gandhiji in my writing. So I had to make it readable. And due to that reason, I also lost marks that I am feeling personally at present. So presentation must be good, but it doesn't mean that decoration is required, right? I have seen students unnecessarily using graphics, unnecessarily highlighting points, and drawing kind of certain things which are not at all expected. Why do you waste your time in just unnecessary drawing, unnecessary decoration, right? Readability, it means your writing must be legible, nothing else than that, right? It must be well presented. Another thing, that reading is required, and reading with comprehension. I'm using the word comprehension. That is that is utmost required, that you need to first have full understanding of the author and the text, right? And a very close reading of the text is expected. Only then you will be able to elaborate a point, right? So it doesn't, superficial reading will never help you in writing specific answers. So please read the text very closely, comprehend each and every section of the text. Only then you will be able to produce a very qualitative content in your answers. So reading with comprehension is required, is expected at this level, right? Fine. Proceeding further in my presentation, in the next slide, that is don'ts. Which are the things which we expect from you that you don't do, right? Please try to avoid these things. If you are committing these kinds of mistakes, you will have to be very careful about that. See, do not write key facts. Yeah, I told you simply I have seen number of answers. See, number of answers. If, for example, if I assessed 180 answer books, then I can say with surety that more than 90 or 100 answer books I assessed in which I had seen students writing answers or beginning answers with key facts directly taken from Spark Notes, right? Not at all required. Why do you write something about writer's full name, writer's birthplace, writer's birth year, genre of so and so text, tone of the author or tone of the text? Why do you write this? What is, it is not at all required. It is not even at all asked. Why should you waste your time in writing these unnecessary details? Directly, you should start writing things which is asked. I will show you my answers, model answers. Nowhere, even if they were prepared before 17 years, you will find directly, you will find answers written, pointed, specifically. Whatever is asked, directly the answer will start from that. Even introduction will be like that only. It doesn't mean that in introduction you need to write something about that, T.S. Eliot was one of the greatest writers of 20th century. He wrote these many works. The titles are mentioned below. Why do you write this? Who you are to give that title that he is one of the greatest? And greatest is the word almost used by all of you. Even you do not have that common sense that you change the word, that you write the word pioneering writer, one of the revolutionary writers, one of the prominent ones, one of the eminent personalities, one of the versatile genius, right? Use a different terminology if you really want to give that particular certificate of excellence to him. You do not need to, you are not expected to give that certificate of excellence that he was so great, he was so huge personality or well-known or celebrated writer. Why do you write this? Right? So it is not at all required. I specifically have written this point first here in don'ts list, that please don't do this. Okay, next. Don't write one line or paragraph. I have seen, in order to fill a number of pages, I have seen many students that they will write paragraph, and the paragraph will be only of one sentence, and then after another paragraph, another sentence, another paragraph. What the hell you are doing? See, at least seven meaningful sentences will comprise one paragraph, and then after another paragraph, right? There will not be even logical connection between these lines also. So don't prepare paragraph consisting of only one sentence, one line. Okay. Another thing, don't commit mistakes in spellings, especially in the name of writers. I have seen students that they write a spelling of conclusion like TION, CON, CLU, TION. See, you are proving yourself to be a fool, right? So instead of writing it, don't write it. Simply directly you can conclude your answer that in this way, this is how, thus, hence. Use these kinds of words and end your answer, conclude your answer. Why do you write that particular spelling which you even do not know how to spell it correctly, right? So do not commit mistakes in spelling, right? Especially in the name of writers also. If Dostoevsky is the name of the writer, if Nietzsche is the name of the writer, if so and so writer's name is so confusing, then remember the spelling also. It's our duty to remember the spelling of the name of the writer, because if you are committing mistake in writing, in spelling name of the writer, perhaps from there the examiner will come to know what kind of quality content you would have produced there in your answer. So please be careful in writing accurate, correct spellings, and also do not commit mistakes in sentences. There should be a logical flow, that if you are writing answer in simple present tense, then you must be aware of the forms, sentence patterns of either a simple present or continuous present or perfect present or continuous perfect present tense, even active sentence pattern and passive sentence pattern. You must be knowing this, right? So do not commit mistakes in sentences, in framing sentences, and also in spellings. In number of answer books I had seen this. That's why I'm drawing your attention to that particular aspect, that please don't commit mistakes. Another thing, don't summarize the plot of the text. Yes. See, story is not to be written. In order to fill the pages, you are not expected to write story. In model answers, I will show you nowhere you will find story written. Yeah, episode is taken into reference, fine, it is elaborated, but it is analyzed. Evaluation is more important, or we can say analysis is more important rather than writing something about the story or the plot of the text. I have seen students writing only story. This happens and that happens, and this subsequently, right from beginning to end, they will just simply write story. See, other students who are not studying in the department, they will do these things. It's for them that they are not knowing actual things, because they are not trained by the teachers like sir, faculty members there. That's why they might commit mistakes, that they will start writing answers with key facts. Let them do what they want to do, but we will improve our things, we will improve our answers, keeping these points in our mind, right? Yeah, unnecessary content. What is asked is more important rather than what you exactly know, what you have remembered, referred, read from different sources. So do not write any unnecessary content. Always remember, I must tell you, I am telling it very consciously at present, that filling a number of pages is never important. Only quality content is expected from you. I exactly remember my bachelor's, my master's there in Bhavnagar University. Even though annual system it was, we had 3 full hours writing only 5 questions. I haven't taken any supplementary other than the main answer book that is given in the very beginning. Never filled all pages also. Never filled all pages. And here bunch is given a bunch of 50 papers there, on the main answer book. Other than main answer book pages, you will find other extra pages. No doubt, you are free to take answer other supplement is not no problem. It is up to your choice. But again, what you are writing is more important. So always, students have that nostalgic mindset, that if she has taken a supplementary, X has taken supplementary, Y has taken supplementary, fine, let me also start taking and start, go on filling pages. Right? See, if she takes the supplementary, he might be, requiring that particular thing, but you must not compete in taking supplementaries or filling number of pages. You should always remember that quality content, that is, mature content is to be delivered by you, and you will have to ensure this thing only, right? Fine. Now it's time for me to show you some of the model answers. 5 different textbooks answers, some common answers I prepared. I will show you. Perhaps I will not read the answer line by line, but what exactly I want to tell you, that I will tell you through showing only a few segments, few portions of my answer, right? Fine. So if the question is asked like this, that the poem The Wasteland is an expression of disillusionment of generation, elucidate. Or if the question is that how it is an epic of modern times, or if it is asked in inverted comma, I'm sorry, quotation line is asked in question, that it presents the vision of dissolution and spiritual drought. Or even if the question is asked in another way, that contemporary world reflected in contemporary European society reflected in, right, or post-war European society reflected in, whatever question is asked, it is asked from thematic perspective. Fine. What could be the beginning, or we can say introduction? You will not find here the word, the bulleted point introduction here. Even in none of the answers you will find conclusion is written. So it is but obvious, it is understood by all that the first paragraph will always become the introductory paragraph. So no need to define it, writing it introduction, that this is my introduction, please read it, and then now proceed further, right? See the introduction, how it begins. So you have understood the question, the nature of question, right? And how it begins. T.S. Eliot, the poet of the Westland, has been regarded as one giving voice to the modern spirit of weariness and disillusionment. The Westland is a chart of the devastated world after the First World War. The poem, see the succinct lines, the precise line, the preciseness. We can easily remember this. It doesn't mean that the sentences are complex sentences or compound sentences. They are made of using different conjunctions. Very simple sentences. The poem, and see this I prepared using notes provided by Dilip sir at that time, and also I prepared on the base of sources I collected from different libraries. Especially is the word I remember I had I had got that book issued from the library, and referred it, read it, and then used some of the content, some of the lines also from that particular book and written here. Okay, the poem tremendously expresses the disillusionment of a generation. So here, see, directly pointed answer has started. What question is asked, you will find the answer starts from this particular sentence, right? That is post-war generation in Europe, and that it merely presents a vision of desolation and spiritual rot. In fact, the Westland, Eliot mourns the death of Europe, and therefore it is a faithful reproduction of the conditions of life in the contemporary world. In this reference, Andrew Sanders quotes in his The Short Oxford History of English Literature. See, friends, again, one thing I will have to tell you, that here this is not a perfect parenthetical citation, but in answer it is not expected. You just simply write a critic's name, writer's name, and then the work from which you have taken it, and then it will suffice your need. And there, and see, here you will find a quotation. See, the quotation doesn't come directly. I have seen number of answer books that they start with quotation. See, first you need to introduce the theme, what is asked. First, you are expected to write at least a few lines about what the question is has been asked, right? And then you support your argument with your quotation. So even the quotation doesn't come from cloud or from sky. It has to be written along with your argument that you have presented before. See, first of all, before quotation, which line comes here and how the quotation supports that argument. See here, Eliot mourns the death of Europe, and therefore it is a faithful reproduction of the conditions of life in the contemporary world. And in this reference, this historian in his history talks about this. And then see, you read, you will feel that the argument has been supported by this particular critical remark. The appearance of T.S. Eliot's The Westland in the first issue of the quarterly magazine The Criterion in October 1922 struck many as forcefully expressing the disordered and irregular nature of modern condition. Fine. So chaotic situation, dissolution, decadence, disillusionment of post-war European society, that has been, that particular argument has been given before, and in order to support that argument, quotation is written here. And then now the answer will start here. I will perhaps not read further things, but here you will find the lines taken from the poem, different sections of the poem. At the very outset of the poem, Eliot says, again, also before this quotation, you will see the sentence before, you will see the argument, what critical observation has been given by me, that however this stirring of life and return of fertility is painful to the Westlanders, for it reminds them of the dead fertility god and his rebirth. and this is perfectly visible at the very beginning of the poem, and here you will find those particular lines taken, right? Fine. Here, in the left side, you will find certain points written. I had written those points for my memory, that this particular paragraph is about this. But when the question was to be written in exam, those points were not written. Let the examiner read and comprehend what I have written. Yeah, I will underline important segments, important phrases, important clauses, so that the examiner can come to know, fine, that this is all about this. Another passage, another extract from the poem taken, further another extract has been taken, right? So the entire answer is full of thematic concerns, unreality, sexual mechanical sexual relationships, sexual perversion, commercialization of sex, then after the dissolution and decadence, something like that. And then in order to support all these arguments, quotations taken from the text, right? Mostly you will find textual quotations here. You even may find critics observations later on. How I'm not going to read this everything. Just a few points, few important points I will show you here, so that you can come to know. Conclusion, that is not to be written by me. That was not written by me, even an answer. You can simply say, thus. It means you are concluding. Hence, in this way, this is how, right? These kinds of phrases you can use in order to make examiner realize you are concluding your answer. And at the end, I. Richard's quotation taken from Principles of Literary Criticism, and that what the poem is all about. And it is also relevant to the question. It doesn't mean that arbitrarily I used it, right? I liked it and that's why I used it. See, it was not that case. Here, what the poem is all about, and if the quotation is supporting that particular idea. See, what I. Richard says, that it's a plight of poem is representing a plight of a whole generation, an expression of disillusionment of post-war generation, that it expresses better than any other poem of that decade the sense of hopeless drift which afflicted the generation after the First World War. Then it is a vision of Europe, mainly of London, at the end of the First World War. Fine. So now with this, I concluded my question. So that was a question of general question I prepared of the text, the Westland. Fine. Coming to the Waiting for Godot. Fine. One general question I prepared, as I told you, smartness is also required, is expected at this level, that we do not need to prepare separate questions, separate answers of separate questions, right? See, we need to incorporate thematic concerns as well as even the characters. And if question is asked from characters perspectives, fine, modify your content in that way. And if it is asked from thematic perspectives, you will have to modify your content in that particular way, right? So if the question is asked like this, I'm not reading questions now, but it is about the central theme, that nothing happens, nobody goes, nobody comes, and that is a central thematic concern. Fine. See, now let us see, how did I begin my answer? What could be the perfect beginning of this answer? It starts with, so no, you will not find here introduction written, right? Samuel Beckett is among the most written about of all writers, and his work continues to attract vast amount of interpretation, criticism, and theory. Fine. So here I have not given him the certificate of excellence, that he was so widely known and celebrated, and prominent pioneering figures of theater of absurd and like that, and blah blah blah. Some this no unnecessary things. Directly, what kind of plays he has written, and why he is so much criticized by, on what grounds he is criticized, what are the key features of his writings, that is reflected in the very first sentence. Directly now to the text, his Waiting for Godot was regarded by some critics as a notable landmark in the history of English theatre, which has embraced disorder, uncertainty, and the condition of not knowing. See, friends, I would like to tell you one thing. Vocabulary is very important. That if Samuel Beckett's waiting for Godot, if you are writing answers of questions asked from this particular text, then there must be a certain set of vocabulary, set of words you will have to remember. And that definitely it will enhance your, quality of your answer. That disorder, uncertainty, other than this, see, what I remembered, I exactly remembered that 20th century literature, and if, question is asked from theater of absurd or from this particular text, then there were some words I remembered. I still remember that hopelessness, pointlessness, frustration, depression, disillusionment, decadence, and then after disorder, ennui, boredom. These are, devaluation of all highest values. I still remember 10 words, 10 vocabulary I had prepared, that if question is asked like this, these words, right? Two or three from this, and then after another two or three, and then after another two or three, so that you will avoid repetition also. That's, that is smartness. That is smartness. I do not claim that I'm very smart, but again, I did things very smartly. That is what I must claim, and I'm claiming it at present, that certain things must be there. Okay. Then after, the sentence is like this. It is not surprising that, yeah, actually San Quentin is name of a theater where this particular play was performed, and several people who had seen the performance, they responded enthusiastically to a performance, completely strange yet meaningful to them, in which every happening offers both absurdity and disillusioning repetition of daily round. Yeah, this is a bit a longer sentence. You can break it into one or two, but at least it shows the gist, the central thing, or we can say essence of the text. In this play, the two tramps, the two figures, Vladimir and Esteban, they converse and perform various restricted movements while awaiting the arrival of a certain Mr. Godot, with whom they have an appointment in a vaguely desolate place. Right? So the play is all about this. Fine. Okay. Here you may find points written, but again, it is written by me for my memory. When actually to be written, no points were written, no bulleted points were written, only highlighting words, highlighting sentences. And in this way, I had seen, this is a kind of a quotation taken from James L. Calderwood. But before this quotation, there is one argument, and then in the support of this particular argument, quotation has been written here. It doesn't mean that vaguely, this quotation has been taken. This quotation didn't come from the sky. It was carefully referred and taken here in order to support arguments presented before this particular quotation, right? See, what is the argument before that? That Beckett has thus depicted in his play a situation which has a general human application. Sometimes we may behave the way the two tramps in a play behave for passing the time. And then, this particular Calderwood says about the general predicament of the play, means how this play is also applicable to the human society, where we also find these kinds of tramps, these kinds of figures waiting unnecessarily, and passing the time and wasting the time, wasting the energy. So, see, the quotation is like this: when the play is over, we are no longer left waiting for it, free at last. But of course, what the play has forced upon us is the realization that not merely our time in theater, but also our lives themselves are consumed in waiting for a God who will never come. Right? See, so you can see the correlation between quotation and the argument that is presented before writing the quotation. There must be correlation, right? Fine. So here you will find a lot of quotations taken from text. Easily you can remember the conversation that is taking place between these two tramps, Estragon and Vladimir. And you can write in this way. Quotation is to be written in the middle part of the page of your answer book, and it is to be written in double inverted comma. But there is one condition, friends, you will have to remember, that you can write quotation in double inverted comma only when you remember even punctuation marks, not only words, or you can say entire sentences. but also punctuation marks you are supposed to remember. And if you clearly memorize, you have completely memorized it, only then you are entitled to write the things in double inverted comma. Otherwise, you will have to simply paraphrase it, right? The only condition, remember, I think the teachers would have told you this thing, that in a humbug way, in a in your own whimsical mind, you cannot write this. See, this taken from another, another quotation taken from text. Then after, you will find a series of quotations used. Then after, again, this quotation taken from Albert Camus, from the myth of Sisyphus, where he is referring to this particular play, and he has given his critical remark. And the answer has been supported, the arguments have been supported by his critical remark, and that is taken here. So if these kinds of quotations, some textual quotations, one or two critical observations, if you use, then it will definitely enhance your quality of answer, right? Fine. So this is particularly a kind of end of answer. Thus, the critic who said that Waiting for Godot is a play in which nothing happens twice was not far wrong. So this is a kind of a conclusion. And at the end, if you feel you want to write quotation, if you have collected it somewhere from somewhere, then you can write it. Yeah, the text Oliver Twist, my favorite one at that time. If the question is asked like this, how the answer began: ruthless social criticism or social satire, that is found in Oliver Twist. How Charles Dickens is considered to be a pioneering figure of that particular social reformation. How is he known as the Messiah of, or the champion of the downtrodden mass? How is he regarded as the reformer of his society in which he was living? If the question is asked like this, then the question, the answer written is here. Answer written here will be useful to you, right? So how it began, right? You can see here Edmund Wilson's quotation also, that what kind of remarks he is giving for Dickens. And then after, you will find this answer again full of quotations taken from text, right? See, Dickens describes as following how he was found. Actually, Oliver's mother was found. In what from which dingy and dirty place she was found. Andrew Sanders' history I read, referred, and used some of the quotations also here in the answer. See, if examiner finds the names like Compton Rickett, Edward Albert, Legwis Kazamian, William J. Long, Andrew Sanders, Pramod K. Nair, right, David Deichis, Harold Bloom, S.D. Ward, if he finds these kinds of names of critics, historians, he will definitely be pleased, right? He will completely become happy to see a very good quotations taken from that. At least it will give a kind of sense to the examiner that you have read it, you have referred it, right? In this digital age, reading takes place. He will feel that kind of feeling, right? Fine. So the answer ends with this. Thus, Dickens attacked almost all abuses, right? And at the end, also, you will find George Orwell's quotation. It's all about this central thematic idea explored by Dickens in this, right? So I think I have other answers also at present, but I know that I have taken much time, sir. Uh, right? So these were a few things that I wanted to share.
Yes, thanks a lot. Thanks. I think that will give a good example to many students that how you can prepare your answers. Handwritten will always help you because your exams are handwritten. So writing a lot will give you an idea. And if you will structure your answer with quotations from critics and the original text, it will help you a lot. So you have given good examples of how the answers can be prepared. Now students have question bank, so that makes the work little bit easy for them, that from the question bank they can easily get questions and prepare the answers for that also. So thanks a lot, Dr. Vijay, for sparing your time and sharing these ideas with all of us. Yeah, you can remain connected if you want to, if you don't have any other work. Otherwise you can watch it live stream also. Okay, So now I request madams to share their views on this error analysis of the
Even
answer.
sir, assessment is going on at assessment center here in my university campus, so I will
Okay.
have to join there.
Acha, okay. No, no, fine. You
You
can
have
leave then. Yeah.
to, yeah, you will have to excuse me for that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I hope
Thanks.
that,
Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
yeah, hope the students would have got a overall idea what exactly
Yes.
I wanted to tell them, and they
Yeah.
will definitely use it in their writing answers
Right.
also in their
Yes.
exams. Best
Yes.
of
Yeah.
luck to them also, and thanks once
Mhm.
again to you, sir, for inviting me here. Thank you.
To share the screen in that. Yeah. In the StreamYard, you have to share the screen. Yeah. I think the PPT was downloaded. Check this. It is there. Huh? But in that plus mark, you have to share in StreamYard. You have to and then share the screen.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Bharat sir for providing a strong background regarding this academic writing workshop, and also thanks to Dr. Vijay sir for sharing his valuable suggestion, remarks, as well as what to do and what not to do in your exams. So most of the things I think Vijay sir has already covered, but few things which we want to share. And this PPT we have prepared based on your we can say the internal examination answer sheet that you have what you have written in your we can say the internal exam papers. So based on that, while checking your answers, we found some of the we can say the common mistakes that you most of have done. So I think this presentation will help you to improve your academic writing skills, and the same mistakes maybe you cannot repeat in your final university exams. Here I just want to we can say clarify one thing, that each and every student has their own we can say the writing style. Okay, so here we can just suggest that what to do, what not to do, but it is up to you that how you can prepare your own model answer, because now time is also changed, technology is also with you, so you have your own we can say the way of preparing your answer. So with the help of these tips you can just we can say improve your writing skills. Okay, so first point here is that incorrect content and explanation. So here in that image you can find it out that these points, okay, these points are written, but these all points are incorrect. So you have to write correct information, which already we can say you have in your question. So that you have to check. In the second image, you can find it out that all points are right, but in detail, that content is not appropriate to that particular points. So that also you have to, we can say, be clear for that, for explanation and content. Next thing is that irrelevant and repetitive content. So here you can find it out that I have mentioned in remarks that not explained various interpretation. You can find it out that question in your paper that write various interpretation of the play Birthday Party. But here in this answer you cannot find it out a single interpretation. There are 5 different interpretation, religious, psychological, and all these things. So you have to explain that. Okay. Another thing is that repetitive content, you can find it out in the second page. Again, you can find it out that information is not relevant to that question. So that thing you cannot repeat in your university exam. Again, a common mistake, language error and spelling errors. Maybe subconsciously also you made that mistakes, but you can just improve your language and your errors. Next, encountering meaninglessness means unclear statements, points, and explanation. Here you can find it out that I also remarked that it is about question number 4A. So why you have written this particular information? I have asked about comedy of meanness, and these students have written about the we can say some points regarding the absurd theater. Okay, so at that time I think due to the time management or time problem, or I think we can say you have some kinds of fear during the exam, so you did these kinds of a mistake, but that you have to also we can say remove that thing. Again, you can find it out that here these 3 lines are highlighted, so this line is not appropriate regarding that particular question. So again, just try to focus more on your statements, points, and explanation. Again, handwriting and organizational issues. So again, that you can find it out here in these slides. Handwriting is very poor. Just try to improve your handwriting. At least readable handwriting you can just write, so examiner can just read your answer properly. Sometimes what happened that we cannot read spellings properly, so we cannot understand what you have written in your answer. Here again, you can find it out the same thing. Organization means in the first slide you can find it out that you have to start your new questions from the new page, but instead of that you can find it out that question is already started in the same page after the MCQ. In that page you can find it out the question number 1 started. So don't do the same kind of respect. You have enough pages, so just try to use that supplementary answer sheet and just start new questions from the new page. Okay. Next point is that mistakes in selection of questions to attempt. So here you can find it out that one student made this mistake. He or she has already written question 4B, and again the next questions in or question 4B is already written. So we cannot give marks of both the questions. Okay, so you can find it out 2 marks are there for the one question answer, but we cannot we can say give the same marks for the another. So why you can waste your time? Okay, so instead of wasting your time, just try to we can say utilize your time wisely for the another question answer. Okay, so don't do these kinds of mistake. Here again you can find it out that in the MCQs. Okay, so while we can say choosing the correct option in MCQ, if you are not sure, then you can use pencil. Okay, and when you get correct answer, when you recall the correct answer, at that time you can erase that pencil mark and you can use ball pen. But don't we can say do these kinds of mistake. Okay, 2 answers you have selected, and then one you can erase, and then another one is finalized. So don't do these kinds of common mistakes, because here we can easily identify, or we can just we can ask as well, but in university exams you don't have that kind of options. So make sure that don't do these kinds of common or silly mistakes in your answers. For now the further information, I would like to invite Prakruti ma'am.
Okay, so without further ado, just a few things to
mentioned here. First thing first, missing elements referred to. Now, some people have recently suggested you that an introduction title and a conclusion title is not required, but now in the new, system which we follow, the new structure for the rubric which we follow, a clear organizational structure is required for the entire answer, and therefore highlighting the title introduction is necessary, right? Highlighting the title conclusion is also necessary. So those, if those are not there, then those are considered as missing elements. Here you can see that the title is not given, and therefore introduction question mark is mentioned here. Another is, of course, incomplete answers. Now this is where the whole time management kind of an idea is there, but again, your time you will have to manage, right? So then depending on how much time do you take, that is something which you can identify and then write accordingly, right? But just make sure that nothing remains incomplete. Why? Because once you have an incomplete answer, you don't get the marks, right? So then why should you lose it just for the sake of the issue of time? Then problems with the justification of answers. So now some students, they write really well in the sense that the points are correct, the content is right, but then the idea of justification, as in why that particular point is necessary, or as it was mentioned in the previous slides, right, irrelevant information. So the demand of the question is there, the content is there, but then towards the conclusion, what you need to add is why was this piece of information necessary, a justification. Sometimes what happens is you quote some original lines from the text, which is very good, right? But then you just put it right there. You don't connect it with the content which you have already written. Now that is where things are, right? If you add quotations, just mingle them up with the content which you are writing, so that both of them have some connection, some relevance to the question which is asked. Then this is the same issue. Now here you can find that here this particular question is asked, that we all know about Painter and what he and this technique which he used to use for his plays, but then why do you think is this necessary for this particular answer, right? Why do you need to put that information here is the question. So that is where the whole point of justification comes in. Next, with rough work and unattempted questions. So if you see, then here in this history paper, somebody has done rough work on the question paper, right? So don't do that, right? You can have a separate section for the rough work in your answer book, right? A separate page you can assign to it, or the last page of your supplementary can also be used for this thing, but don't do it on the question paper. Then of course attempt all questions, right? You never know how many marks you will lose just by not attempting one question. So here you can see that the person hasn't attempted the first question, so the remark has been made here, and therefore good use of infographics. And now, of course, people highlight mistakes, but we should also highlight some of the good things which you are doing, right? So some of you are performing really well, right, in terms of content, in terms of arguments. So the first good thing, good characteristic of your answers, right? First good thing is the use of infographics, right? People these days, they would say, like, write narrative answers. No, now infographics are equally necessary. Why? Because they help you in the presentation of your answer, right? So then, as I mentioned earlier, now the things have changed, structures have changed, and even the examiner's expectations have changed. So if you present infographics, then it gives a clear idea to the examiner that these are the main points of the answer, and it also adds to the quality of your answer as well. So then these students have done it really good. So good use of infographics. And relevant quoted lines are also given. If you can see, then the quoted line is supported with some sort of description also there. So that is how you need to do it. Grammatically correct language and well presented arguments, right? The language is perfect, no grammatical errors, no spelling errors. All the arguments, or rather all the statements which are mentioned, are also logically presented. So then that is there. If you can see, this student has listed out first all the main points, then they have also mentioned right, how that particular point is supposed to be explained, and even the explanation of the point is correct, right? So then that is some of, now these are some of your own classmates are doing this, so you can take it as an inspiration or a motivation to do it the same way, right? And then, of course, well presented arguments, well described, discussed content also. And of course, scoring points through MCQs. Now, some students are not good with, writing descriptive answers. And therefore, we have now in the new, examination system, we have the MCQs. So then we always recommend this to all the students that don't lose marks in MCQs. Make sure that you get 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 in the MCQs. Why? Because that is your scoring point, right? And sometimes because of that, you get higher marks, right? Even when you're losing in the descriptive section. So then this is also something that all students can follow. Finally, this is already done, so I'm not going to highlight it detail by detail here, right? And we mention it in every semester. So I think by now you already know the things which you need to do. Coherence, cohesiveness, language, this and that, which has already been discussed in this session. So that is it from our side. Thank you so much.
So now we will have the presentations by the students. In the lab, they have worked and they have find errors in their writing with the help of BAWE and MKBU rubric. They have prepared slides on their outcome of the work, and they will share their learning outcome based on this activity. Yes. Are you sharing it from that? Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Which ID is open? In English, you are sharing it, no? In English, yeah. I think it is already shared, no? Now you can open from that. Yeah. You can open the drive. In drive also you will find it. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. So, as a part of academic writing workshop, this is our group who have analyzed their answers and the interpretations. Kruti, Grishma, Priyanka, Siddhi, Sandeep, and Aditya Raj. This is Kruti's paper. So, the areas which are needed to be improvised are on language and mechanics. The draft suffers from incomplete sentences and overly conversational tone is being used. The content and evidence is on surface level, and the foundation is accurate, but it just basically relies on the summary. The organization and flow is fragmented. The introduction lacks cohesion, and it reads like a series of disconnected bulletin points. So academic transitions are being needed to connect the definition, and the introduction is presenting a highly accurate, factually sound foundation, and also demonstrating a clear conceptual understanding of the topic. But however, to meet the rigorous academic standards and to achieve top grade, it requires significant and stylistic refinement. This is the rewritten answer in a form of stream of consciousness according to the refined standards to meet BAWE standards and MKBU standards. Then comes my paper, where the critical evaluation is informative, but it is overly mechanical structure. It provides relevant background, but the bullet point format is making it appear like a list rather than a academic paragraph. The direct engagement is limited within the question. Weak thesis statement is being seen. No central argument which is being positioned according to BAWE style. And the language, minor grammatical errors are being seen, like somewhere in connection. It reduces the clarity and academic sharpness. This is the rewritten answer. This is Priyanka's paper, where we see weak language and clarity, frequent grammatical errors, and proper sentence structure is not formed. More description is being seen, but analysis is less. Central theme link is very poor, so time-based structure is present, but not connected to the main actual influence of the present. And limited vocabulary is being seen. Simple and repetitive words are used, and important ideas like conflict and addiction are not critically explained. This is the rewritten version of the answer. Now, I would like to invite Aditya Raj Gohil for further analysis.
So this is the paper of Siddhiba Gohil, and the area of improvement are the include relevant poets and the poems to strengthen the answer. As an example, Robert Brooke, Wilfred Owen, and Sifren Sassoon. Add short questions to support arguments. Use a more formal academic tone and avoid informal expressions. Improve grammar, sentence structure, and clarity. Use linking words to improve flow and coherence. Write a strong introduction with a clear thesis and a concluding paragraph that analyzes, not just repeats. Here is the rewritten answer of Siddhiba. Here is the paper, answer of Sandeep Jetwa. The evaluation, the issues are informal tone. That here you can see in the side image, a weaker grammar, no evidence or examples, lack of depth, and proper conclusion structure. So overall, the language is basic, content are limited, and the organization is developing. Here is the rewritten answer. Here is the my answer. Here is my assessment that correctness of English language. Currently, the language falls into the lower tier of the rubric due to the basic spelling and grammatical errors that impede the academic tone. The spellings are the dictatorship, should be dictatorship, hairy should be heavy, and the grammatical mistakes are people who is a subject verb. Agreement error, it should be people who are. Came is in the past tense, but you are starting a general truth, so it should be in the present tense. The organization of the answer, a strong conclusion should synthesize your argument and directly answer the prompt. Your conclusion introduce a completely new informal metaphor right at the end of the essay, which breaks coherence. A conclusion should be nearly tied together and trajectory of the arguments you have already made about the new speak's purpose. Here is the another assessment. Here is the rewritten answer. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So this is group number 2. Myself, Nidhi Pandya, Priya Rathod, Hiralba Chareja, Sanjay Rathod, Riddhi Sarvaya, and Shivani Degda. This is my paper, which shows the assessment, BAWE assessment, which contains the structure and academic style. Here, the areas which are needed for the improvement is that I have used overused the bullet points instead of the continuous prose, and has it lacks the fully developed paragraph, and there is a absence of the clear and guiding thesis statement. So the AI has suggested to me that to use the structured paragraphs with the topics sentences and the present a clear thesis with strong arguments. After that, the academic tone and style, which is it has given the level of 2.5. It needs improvement into the informal and imprecise expression and repetition, and the lack of clarity it shows, and doesn't have the sentence structure also, and it contains the grammatical inaccuracies. And after that, it suggests that it should be replaced with the informal phrases and the precise academic forms, maintain the formal objective tone. It needs to improve grammatical accuracy and fluency. Now this is the rewritten answer of my questions answer. Now I would like to invite Priya for further analysis.
Myself Priya Rathod, and in my answer, I have gave my answer to ChatGPT, and it has given BAWE assessment, critical evaluation of argumentation and textual evidence, in with argumentation and critical analysis, in which I have written mostly descriptive answer rather than reflective, and it lacks explanation of how or why the past is painful. And I have in my answer, also represent a weak depth in analyzing memory, trauma, and cause-effect relationship. So I need to improve shift to interpretation, explain significance of how and why, and I also have to take care of developed depth in my answer. Use of textual evidence, I have written quotation, but it not analyzed. It is limited and poorly integrated evidence, and I have to take care of apply quotation and then explain it, and it I have to link with this method. So this is my rewritten answer. Now I would like to invite Hiralba Jadeja for more further details.
Good evening. These answer my BAW assessment in coherence and use of transitions. What area improvement in my answers? My answers are not smoothly connected and repetition instead of development, and I am not using a word like furthermore and however, lack of transition word. Recommendation, use the linking word for flow and develop ideas instead of repeating. Follow clear paragraph structure, topic, explanation, and example. Grammar, sentence structure, and vocabulary. I'm so many mistake in my answer, some words, and I'm not proper using the sentence, and incorrect spellings, simple repetitive vocabularies, and recommendation, improve grammar basics, and I need to work in grammar and vocabulary, use of correct academic terms. These are my rewritten answer. This answer I gave the ChatGPT, and give me according to BAWE and MKBU. ChatGPT give academic answer like this, and well structured answer, and I improve my answer in examination. Thank you. This is from my side.
I am evaluate my question basis on MKBU rubrics, correctness of English language. In this, I have give prompt to Gemini AI, and this give me an error of my paper. There is mechanics like spelling errors like movement inherently and lowercase proper noun like Waldo, and grammar like subject verb agreement mismatches. In example, they believes instead of I can use they believe, which is emerged instead of which emerged. And tone, use of informal phrasing I have used very famous instead of I can use prominent. And content is factual misclassification of Moby Dick as a transcendentalist text. Now I can take actionable suggestion. It will give the proofread aloud, like I can read my paper after I write. Elevate vocabulary, replace conversational word with precise academic terminology, and integrated evidence, like introduce quotes properly with author citation rather than dropping them abruptly into the text, and improve cohesion. Okay, use formal transitional phrases to connect paragraph logically. Here is my rewritten answer, what it gives me. Thank you.
Riddhi did some mistake. First, she did not clearly focus on the key demand of the question, which is the narrative technique in For Whom the Bell Tolls. Instead, she wrote general points about war, leadership, and character without linking them to technique. Secondly, her answer is mostly descriptive rather than analytical. She mentions idea like the bridge and characters, but do not explain how they function as a narrative device. Third, there is no use of textual evidence. She did not include any example, incidents, or references from the novel to support her points. And fourth, important techniques such as a third person narration, stream of consciousness, and a realistic dialogue are either missing or not properly explained. And she should focus directly on the question and explain specific narrative techniques with clarity. She need to support each point with brief example such as Robert Jordan's inner thoughts or the breeze blowing episode. She should also move from summary to critical interpretation, explaining how each technique contributes to meaning. Here is the written answer, and from me, uh, I did some mistake. The first one is weak grammar, spelling errors, and incorrect sentence structure. Second one is lack of clear organization. Third one is informal language and poor academic tone. Very limited use of example or textual evidence. And I also some basic knowledge of understanding of Bloomsbury group theory like individualism and psychology. I have also knowledge about basic idea of Fabian society, social reform and equality. However, ideas were superficial and not critically explained. So, what I need to improve is use formal academic language and correct grammar, develop well structured paragraph with clear flow, add critical analysis with example, and include introduction, comparison, and strong conclusion. Because of lack of timing management, I did not write the conclusion in my answer. So yeah, I should manage it and use transitions, however, similarly in contrast for coherence. Here is my rewritten answer. That's it from our side.
Hello everyone, my name is Mital Halia. We are in group 3 and we are six members in group. Sandhya Bhuth, Dimple Parmar, Dimple Dabhi, Mansi Makwana, Mital Halia and Chetna Bhalia. Here is my assessment according to BAWE. I did many mistakes in language. I use grammar. I made mistakes in grammar errors and spelling errors and use of informal vocabulary. I made mistakes in content. I mentioned Samuel Bacon and waiting for Godot. No analysis or not given any quotation in my answer, and also made mistakes and give the wrong examples of Virginia Woolf. and I made mistakes in organization also. I give basic structure in my answer, and weak of flow and connection, and lacks of coherence in my answer. I need to improvement in my answer is that use formal academic language, and add detail analysis, and add one example or quotation, and improvement in paragraph structure and linking. Here is my rewritten answer. Now I would like to invite Dimple Parmar. Thank you.
Very good afternoon, everyone. This is my paper according to British Academic written in English, and my errors is the grammar mistake, incomplete sentences, and spelling errors, and then overuse of biography and lack of focus on the topic, and then analysis. Language shows frequent errors and lacks of academic clarity. Content is descriptive and does not address queer reading effectively. Organization is weak with poor coherence and no clear thesis. And then improvement is use correct facts about W.H. Auden, and focus on poem and queer reading with a clear thesis. Maintain formal academic tone and logical structure. And then is my rewritten answer. And then this is the Dimple Darby's handwritten paper. And this is weaknesses, frequent grammar errors and many spelling mistake, unclear and incomplete sentences, and the basic ideas are correct, but poor language reduces quality. Answer books less academic and less professional. Lack of clarity affect overall impression. And this is the improvement areas. Use simple and correct sentences. Learn and revise correct spelling. Add basic punctuation and practice writing clear and complex sentences. Thank you. This is from my side. Now I request Mansi Makwana.
Hello everyone, myself Mansi Makwana, and as per BAWE evaluation and MKBU rubric criteria, I made many mistakes while writing answer in my exams. I present basic structure but with a weak coherence, and also the content of my answer is mostly descriptive but it lacks critical analysis. Also, there is no use of literary examples, and I was also made errors in the grammar like people has and leads isolations. Also, there are mistakes in spelling mistakes and unclear sentences. The weakness of my answer is there is no example or references. Also, the tone is informal and the flow is weak and transitions. What I need to improve is to use correct grammar and academic language, add examples and explanations, and also improve structure and coherence. This is reversion of my answer. This is written by ChatGPT. Thank you. This is from my side, and now I would like to invite Chetna Bhalia for further information.
So this is my answer. I did many mistake in grammar, like grammar mistakes reduce clarity. So frequent grammatical errors make the meaning unclear and weaken the overall quality of the answer. A weak sentence structure in some in my paragraphs or in the answer, it incomplete, awkward, or poorly forms, it not connected, and it not produce a meaning, or it's not, there is no semantic thing. Incomplete explanations of points like important concepts are mentioned but not fully developed or illustrated. Weak organization in context of the point to connect to the concept. Example not properly explained. I did mention examples, but I not explain in detail. So areas needing improved, like the use clear and correct grammar, build complete sentence, develop point fully, improve organizations, and explain example clearly. So this is my rewritten answer, which is given by AI. So this is Sandhya's paper. So she did many mistakes in the
repetitions of ideas, weak academic language, poor structure, lack of clarity and comparison, grammar and spelling errors, no use of connectors, like the difference not clearly explained. So the ideas are not well mentioned. Key areas of improvement: use clear structure. But so she's answer is in the 5 marks, so she doesn't give her full. And write point by point comparisons like nature focus things. So these are point by point comparison but not fully explained. Use words like emphasizing advocates, focus on, avoid repetition, use connectors, and fix basic grammar. So this is from my side. Thank you so much. And this is rewritten answer of Sandhya's, and this is
We are the fourth group, and the group members are Sejat Chokia, Jainsi Rathod, Jaipal Gohel, and Milan Dave, and I myself. This is my answer. There is some correction in the introduction to the poem. Whereas I used one quote, as a just and fair, where as was should be replaced by and should be replaced by as. It was a false sentence. And here also we can see one grammar error as well. And my introduction does not provide introduction to my answer. And this is a rewritten introduction for that kind of manner. This is my friend Jaipal, and where he lacks in understanding of themes, and critical analysis is not provided as well. And the use of evidence from the original text is also lacking here. So the current level of is 2, the 50%. Over to Sheza Chokia.
And now see what you have to compare and see. Rewritten answer when you see. So how it is beginning here, that Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken, is a quintessential exploration of human agency. So how can you bring this word, quintessential exploration? That is where vocabulary enrichment happens. When you see this difference, that how to bring these words, how can we understand the meaning, and then use these words in exam, where memory-based answers you are writing. That way you have to study and compare that what capacity do we have to bring out such kind of vocabulary in the answers, and how hard we need to work to use such words also. That way you compare both the answers. Yes, continue.
Hello everyone, greetings to all. I'm Sejat Chokia, and here is the overall assessment of my answer. One of the first and major thing that was lacking in my answer, which was a coherence and transition. I was not able to make such transition while I was writing the answer. Like the flow of answer was not on that way that it connects one and another thought simultaneously. And here is the assessment as per the MKBU rubric. The correctness of English language, my level was at 1, and borderline the essay struggle in the category due to the frequency of basic spelling mistakes. I have made mistakes while writing the name of Thoreau, and I was also forgot to add E while I was writing nature. So, and also I have used some of the incorrect verb forms, and I have also done some errors in punctuation. Another thing that is content of the answer, again the level was 1 according to the MKBU rubric. Answers was weak because it do not include the specific lines and quotes from the original text to support the arguments which I have made in my answers, and the use of zero textual evidence into that particular answers, where I was comparing romanticism with transcendentalism. So organization of answer was quite good at level 2 according to the MKBU rubric. Essay makes a clear attempt to respond to prompt, and conclusion. That was the main answer. However, it was not at that much level of PG student. It was somewhere lacking in organization, and that's where I have made mistake in my answer. Here is the paper of Jansi Rathod, my fellow group member. She has made some of the mistake in grammar, sentence structure, and also the use of wrong vocabulary. As here is the frequent grammatical error she has used, that poet becomes, it should be a poet becomes. Another is it gives importance. It should be like it gives importance, and important to important school of Indian poetics. The error of capitalization that she has made. Uh, Her tone was not that much academic, and style was not that much good. The repetition of words and repetition of sentences was constantly there in her answer. Here is the answer of Milan Dave, my another group member. So he has made in structure and organization of the essay. His answer was shows a very basic structure, which was not as much as relevant to the PG students' answer. The main body was written into point, that no use of paragraph, as also mentioned by Vijay Mangukia sir, that students are constantly use one line paragraph, as it was also the mistake made by Milan. The conclusion repeats the introduction without adding insight. The conclusion was not that much proper. It was a simple repetition of the introduction that he has written in his answer. So his level of organization in answer was 2 out of 4. Okay, so this is from our group. Now we invite the last group for the presentation. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we discuss about the pattern of a paper by the reference of BAWE and how the MKBU papers examiner wants to write a paper by the student. First, we saw the alchemy of evidence. I am also quoted one quotation here that shows my enemy was also human. That is not originally taken from the text. But this shows that how we turning descriptive summary into a high-level academic argument using BAWE standards, not a written in a descriptive or a weak manner, but a right answer in the analytical and a strong manner. Sir also mentioned in the morning discussion that you can quoted a quotation from the scholarly articles which you used in a presentation and another that make your answer more relatable and more appropriate. Here is the Khushi Parmar's paper that shows the transformation from a narration to interpretation. Very not a proper quoted the arguments and not the proper structures. That shows here we also discuss the lead and the goal. What is the presentation of your paper make lead, and what the narration of your paper make gold. Here Siddharth Ji Chauhan, and for that I invited Rudra to discuss that.
Okay, so now onward, my fellow team member Siddharth Chauhan has made mistake that he has written answer on Ivor Gurney's the poem Target. So in which he described the plot or the summary of the poem, nor the significance explanation of the poem. And he also relies on unsupported opinion and abstract idea rather than he should move towards the builds evidence based on argument that how this poem it's connected to its significant theme. And the next is my paper. So now anatomy of arguable thesis. So my question answer was on the answer was on how poetry and sound, the theory of sound by Fry has connected with the poems of Robert Frost. So in which I have used the 4 line that miles to go before I sleep. So I haven't connected this line with the idea of sound of sense. So now the AI has given me that it should be emphasized on how natural speech, rhythm shape poetic meaning. And I haven't mentioned it, and rather I have mentioned that how this idea of sound and sense in poetry could connect the idea of tone of conversation. So it was my main mistake. and there are also lots of mistakes. Now, Divya Dabhi's answer or paper is that she has not provided the evidence. So there was lack of evidence, and second thing is literary connection was not there with the with her answer. That he uses that figurative language, and how the figurative language should convey the meaning. But she didn't properly use that how it should connect with the examples of literature, but she used that how figurative language and the concept of figurative language and what is it, and how she just elaborate this concept. So it was her main mistake. And the further information about the Radhika Mehta, I would like my another team member.
The core argument of the BAW argument that shows the when we see the paper there I put, it's look like a examiner have a sword, and it's make the paper fully by blood. Look how the rounds and how the spelling mistakes are in there. So when we come to a BAW method for writing our exam paper, that shows a clear thesis, that provide direction, textual evidence, quotation by a scholarly person, and other things that shows demands proof. Microanalysis requires interpretation, and the last one is the conceptual meaning that shows the reveal significance, feeding back to a prover thesis, and that is the lack of things in this paper. So when we go through this technique, and when we go through the idea of a BAW, so our answer make a more justified to our question. So that is from my side. Thank you.
So in last group we had Siddharth, Rudra, Khushi, Siddharth D. Chauhan, Radhika, and anybody else? Divya Dabhi. 6 of you, no? Okay. Okay, fine. So we see that how the errors are being made in such a exam. Had this been a well organized writing assignment, then you might not make similar kind of an error, which normally happens in the university exam papers. When I gave this entire feedback, the entire thing to ChatGPT to give me a brief summary report of what can be the final conclusion of all the outcome. So all the outcome was given to ChatGPT, and I prompted that I want a summary of common errors being made by the students. So we can see what is generally happening and how straight away we can identify the mistake and try to avoid that. First is a shift from summary to analysis. So repeatedly this comes that students are writing stories, plot overview, summary rather than analyzing the answer. That is the first thing that we see here. Second is add textual evidence, which makes the things very important. At least one quote also. At least one quote only. We don't expect that you write lengthy, long quotes. Dr. Vijay showed the answers, but that was prepared for preparation. So you can have lengthy quotes. In exam, it is difficult. We understand that you can't write such a lengthy quotes in exam, but at least one a quote, a few lines, which are very easy to remember, that should be there. A clear thesis introduction. When you introduce the first part, the question is what you are answering. You are not introducing author or the text. So clear thesis introduction. Improve structure of writing. Answers are bullet based, list like, disconnected. So even if you make bulleted points, connect the points together. If they are just disjointed list of things which are not connected with each other, then it remains disconnected. Use academic language. Many of you might have got the idea, and as we have seen, it will rewrite and tell you that this is academic writing, this is what you are writing. So you're very bad, you can say deteriorates, they fight, instead conflict escalates, many things, instead of that multiple thematic concerns. So it will give you idea also that what can be a better word to write instead of more general writings. Develop each point, mention points, and do not, most of the students are not explaining the points. That improve coherence by adding the words like furthermore, however, in contrast, thus. These are the linguistic markers which is connecting each paragraph with the previous paragraph, and then you move towards the conclusion, which starts with thus we conclude, thus I conclude. This avoid bullet points writing in exam. Practice continuous prose, logical arguments. Even if you use some points, it should be a paragraph title. It should not be only list of points, as many of you have just listed the points only and not expanded it. Focus strictly on the question. This is again the grave concern, that students are not concentrating on the question. Many answers drift into biographies, which should be avoided. Write general themes instead of asked topic. Every paragraph must connect to the question. See, every paragraph, everywhere that you write, you go back to the question and see that how your paragraph is connected with the question. Basic grammar correction also is required. Then another point, common errors identified across answers. Language errors, subject verb agreement, tense errors, missing articles, and you also have showed those examples how these things are missing there. Names also, spelling mistakes in the names, like Eugene O'Neill. This is very grave. In literature paper, at least names of the authors can never be misspelled when you write that. Characters also. That's why in Japanese novel, you have to be very careful. In the next semester, in the African literature also, you will face the same problem of remembering the spellings of the names of the characters and writers. No textual evidence, no quotes, no reference. Almost all answers were having this issue. Over-reliance on summary, describing plot, that is happening. Weak organization, no thesis, no paragraph unity, repetition, abrupt transition. Lack of critical thinking also. Statements are oversimplified and unexplained. One example is poetry means nothing. So how it remains oversimplified writing. Informal tone also needs to be seen. Conceptual and factual errors of dates, theories, literary concepts also. Some of the misinterpretations were in key ideas by example, newspeak and absurdism. Poor use of examples are also seen. Illustrations are not given properly. Repetition without development. List-based writing instead of essays. So overall 1 to 2 level is what it is coming instead of 4. In the parameter of 4, it is coming to 1 to 2 level. So finally what we see in this is students need to move from memory-based reproduction to structured, analytical, evidence-based writing. Structured, analytical, and evidence-based writing. That is what you need to improve on. So students are able to give the content. They know the content. Like if we compare with some of the UG answer papers, in UG answer papers, undergrad level, we see that sometimes stories of the films are written, stories of some soap operas are written. At least that we are not seeing here. So you are all writing about the syllabus thing. It is not going out of the syllabus we normally see in many of the answers in the UG exam. That is not happening. So that is good. But at the same time, now to level up the thing, structured, analytical, evidence-based writing. I asked another prompt to see that what is lacking as per BAWE standards and according to MKBU rubric. Specifically, if I want to see according to BAWE, where is the problem, and according to MKBU, what problem is seen. So as per BAWE standard, lack of academic argumentation. So at the global level, it is expected that PG students argue in the answer. You don't straightforward say the things, but you argue in the answer. So question is given and you make pros and cons arguments and then lead to some kind of conclusion. Answers are descriptive, not analytical. No clear argument or positions. What position you are taking in that? So if you say, do you agree? So what is your position? What is the opposite position? How you argue with the opposite position? That is what is expected in BAWE answers. A weak structure, list-based, fragmented, poorly paragraphed, then poor academic tone and style, lack of critical engagement, absence of textual integration, weak coherence and flow, inadequate development of ideas, mechanical, not like writing, as if it is like a classroom notes, running notes which are written. That kind of write-up is seen rather than academic essay. As per MKBU rubric, 3 points we have discussed, and here we see language, most consistent weakness, grammar errors, spelling mistakes, and incorrect sentence formation. So you have to be very careful about your use of grammar, about spellings which are used, and sentence formation. Simple sentences, another thing. This kind of things are taught from school days. If you had an English paper, then even in 8th, 9th, 10th standard, the same syllabus was repeated in 11th and 12th, almost similar in first year UG program. Compulsory English paper also used to have the same paper. So many times when we sit down to prepare a syllabus, many people say that this is taught in 10th and 12th. Why are you teaching in college? But we say we need that in PG also. This is still required. Still, this language errors are not rectified even if it was taught in school. So even at PG level, that is the consistent point. And this outcome is evidence-based. This is the outcome which you have analyzed, you have submitted. So it is not that we are generally making observation on this, but from our workshop activity, it is coming out. Then low-level performance so far as summary writing is content is concerned. Summary is written a lot. What is missing is critical analysis, conceptual clarity, and relevance to question. Repeatedly, this point is coming. Relevance to question. So what is asked? I have to reply that. No textual evidence, quotations, or reference to other text or other critical observations is missing out. Weak organization is also seen. Inadequate illustrations, examples are also lacking. Factual errors are also seen in some of the cases. Failure to address question properly is also coming in this thing also. So students lack academic writing maturity. In case of failing to make argument, coherence, and critical depth. And MKBU rubric, weak language, no evidence that is textual or critical, and poor structure of the answer that comes there. So finally, it says that students know the content. So as we have said that you are not going out of content or you are not writing fake things. You know what is in the poem. You know what is in the novel. You are aware about that. So that is quite true. Students know the content, but they cannot convert it into academic, analytical, well-structured written answers. And your second prompt is giving you how it can be done. So if you have a question that, but how can we do it? That also you have it. Yeah? If you just minutely sit, carefully read, minutely observe everything, and line by line, if you will study, you will come to know where you are and where you are supposed to be. This how you can make this journey and that you can work on. And on a daily basis, if you start working on this, you still have quite a good amount of time to work on all these things. And that can help you a lot. Your exam is on 8th May. So you have enough days. Every day, if you just work on 3 to 4 questions, one question from one paper every day, write on your own, give to AI for analysis, compare both the outcome. And I think it can help you a lot in improving the quality of your answers also. So we hope that this will help and you will improve. So even when the papers are assessed by external examiners, they also carry on with a good idea, good image, good impression that students are able to write properly. Ultimately, in this system of examination where finally the answers written by the students are counted, that plays a very significant role, not only in your mark sheet, but in your overall performance also, or the performance of the department or a university also, that how are students writing this. What you present, what you do, other things, that is fine. But this also is an important parameter, that how students are able to write the answers in the examination setup, which is very, very important, where we need to see that there is lots of things to be done, and the improvement is direly required to see that everybody's quality of writing improves also. So with this, we end our session here.